is Destini Elston. I'm an intern with the Agency for Substance Abuse Prevention, and we are back with this month's podcast for the month of August. Today we have a special guest by the name of Ms. Jane Lewis. She is a counselor here at White Plains Middle School. And so summer is coming to an end, which means the school year is approaching. And so we'd like to discuss some things that the students have to look forward to, as well as some difficulties they may face. So Ms. Lewis, why don't you introduce yourself and give a background on how you got into education?
I actually started off as a public school music teacher years ago and then went into counseling. But my grandmother was a teacher, my mother was a teacher, my aunt was a teacher. That's really all I knew, and I loved school, and so it was just a natural thing to go into education. But I did public school music for 10 years, and one of my good mentors was a counselor. And through her influence, I decided I wanted to go into counseling.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about school here. I know that COVID really changed how schools are able to operate this past year. I know for me personally, it was harder to connect with other people and talk to professors. So how did COVID really change the dynamic within White Plains Middle School?
Well, the kids could do a lot of fun things. We didn't do lockers. Basically everything changed. Anything fun, like dances, parties, events that were not organized, that were unstructured, we couldn't do. And so that really, the kids didn't have a whole lot to look forward to. All the chairs were facing the same way. They couldn't work in groups. There were a lot of we do a lot of hands-on even through 8th grade. They couldn't share supplies, they couldn't touch things, so it changed the way instruction was done. I think students felt a lot more isolated. They ate lunch in the classrooms, and really that was the fun part of the day because they had to take their mask off. So that's when they talked, and so they really looked forward to lunch. It was harder on the classroom teachers, you know, eating every day in the classroom. Middle school kids eating every day in the classroom, but the kids really enjoyed it. So it changed the instruction, it changed the social life. Parents didn't come to school for meetings. We didn't have an in-person orientation, it was all virtual, which is fine for those that have internet. And we have areas out in this school district where even if families can afford it, it's not there. So they were at a strict disadvantage. So it really changed completely the way we did school.
Now, did y'all offer online classes too, you know?
Yes, we had what was called a virtual option, and it was done through an online platform that the State Department approves. And anybody that wanted to participate, they were able to. And we had each homeschool had facilitators that checked in with parents, checked in with students. And it was a really good idea in theory. It was not a really good idea for some of the students who are not motivated to get up and work every day on a schedule. And it was not a good idea for parents who just took their students' word that, oh yeah, I've done all my work. And then all of a sudden, parents are notified, your student is behind this many assignments. And well, they told me they did everything. And then some students just, even if they tried, but they struggled. They offered some Zoom tutoring through the virtual school, which was housed at the alternative school, but it's just not the same when you're talking through a computer screen, obviously.
I noticed that my whole freshman year of college was through online laptops, and so really it was just hard to just, you know, wake up early and open this laptop and just listen to everyone say the same thing. I barely saw anyone. The cameras were off the whole time, so it was hard to make friends, you know, connect. And so I'm really glad that things are changing now. So, you know, with vaccines rolling out, is there anything that's changing with White Plains Middle School? Anything the kids have looked forward to now?
Well, I think that's why all the principals are meeting at the central office. We'll have some guidelines, and we'll be thoroughly briefed at the initial faculty meeting. And yesterday was my first day back, so I've not even had a chance to speak with our principal, face to face. So I'm not quite sure. At the end of school, masks were not mandated, but they were optional.
Mm-hmm.
And my understanding is our state superintendent has said that there's not going to be any mandates from the state. Each LEA, each local education authority gets to decide how they want to do things.
Okay.
But you brought up a point. I think our kids felt a lot of isolation, especially those that were at home.
Mm-hmm.
And kids learn a lot working together, listening to each other and bouncing ideas off of each other, and that was one thing that was missing.
Very true. So talking about your kids now, have you noticed like any trends within them, such as peer pressure, underage drinking, substance misuse? Because I know with the pandemic, it really affected kids' mental health.
A lot of that we were not made aware of.
Right.
And some of that may have to do with, parents not contacting us or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say the mental health, the isolation, kids, I hate to even say suicidal ideation, but there was more of that, much more than we've ever seen. But that's true. Plus, there were just a lot of students that felt isolated.
Mm-hmm.
This was going to school was really their only outlet, and so whenever there was drama, it was magnified because they didn't have something to look forward to go to after school. They didn't get, they couldn't go to different activities. So everything was magnified. I feel like the drama was magnified, the hopelessness, and it was really, to me, it was really humorous because whenever we did our state testing, virtual students were required to test. And so they tested at a different time, and I'm the testing coordinator. I had them come to the library separately from the rest of the school. And of course, I had them way spread out. The minute they walked in the door, they ripped off those masks, and they were just in each other's face. And that was kind of hard to control, and that was the whole point of the virtual, is so you wouldn't be around other students.
Yeah.
Which was the parents' idea, I think, but the kids, they were so happy to see each other. It was really comical.
I can bet.
I mean, some of them didn't even take a breath. They just talked the whole time.
Just catching up,
Yeah.
That's something that the kids have to look forward to this year, though, be able to see people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so research shows that people who begin drinking before the age of 15 are 4 times more likely to become addicts for the rest of their adulthood. Surveys showed that 10% had their first drink before the age of 11 and 38% had their first drink between the ages of 12 and 17. So this is why prevention awareness at an early age is important, because these bad middle school habits can always turn into unhealthy adulthood trends. And so, Ms. Lewis, is there any advice you would give to kids who may be struggling with mental health or substance misuse that we discussed?
They need to talk to an adult, a trusted adult. Ideally talk to their parents. Some students aren't comfortable with that, especially at this age.
Right.
And, but they need to talk to a trusted adult. All of our teachers are trained. We're trained as mentors, and we're also trained as mandatory reporters, but we also are made aware of how to handle certain situations. And of course, I'm always available, our administration's always available, our nurses are always available, but our teachers are always available. And that's part of what we talked about last year in a training that we had, was the number one factor for resiliency and bouncing back from all kind of adverse experiences is having a relationship with a trusted adult outside the family.
Yes, that's very important.
So they need to find somebody they feel like they can talk to. If they're uncomfortable, get a friend and go talk to that person. It could be, we've had students in 8th grade who their one person they go to is a 6th grade teacher that they just connected with. And I feel like every teacher can connect with some child. There's always, there's all different kind of personalities and gifts, but every teacher can connect to some child.
That's beautiful. So what's one of your favorite parts about your job as a counselor?
Well, I would say, just working with kids one-on-one, I really enjoy that. That's probably my most favorite. Now when it's something really bad, of course that's heartbreaking, but little things, being a resource, a safe place for them, being a resource for them, helping them learn to navigate things. And usually those that come talk to me want to know something.
Yes.
It's different than when I go into a classroom and I'm telling students something.
Because
a lot of
personally, it's something different.
Yeah, just, it goes over their head. But when they come to me, it's because they need some help. So.
Yes, I actually had a counselor at UAB that I was able to talk to during the pandemic, just because there was a lot of stress going on, all the classes stacking up, and that really helped me to, just flourish for the rest of the semester. And so I really appreciate what you do for these kids.
Well, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
There's a saying that Mr. Rogers had, and I'm going to mess it up, but it's something like, anything that you can talk about is manageable. It becomes manageable, and so that's why it's important to talk about everything. And that's
Right.
really true. A lot of times with students, once they get it all out, just getting it all out helps
feel
them.
lighter.
It really does.
Okay, so remember we do have our HOPE campaign going on that stands for Hold On Pain Ends. So feel free to contact us via our number 256-831-4436 or visit our website, which is asaprep.com. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel and tune in for our next podcast. Thank you.